welcome, join Chief Charlie Beck for a conversation regarding the Chief's message for the month of May 2016. Sir, how are you?
Jack, I'm good. How about you?
Well, it's great. Look at, sir, here we are, back at Southeast, and you yourself, you had quite a distinguished career here in this division, did you not?
Well, I spent a lot of time here. I don't know how distinguished it was, but I did spend a lot of time here. I came here the day the division opened in 1978, and was a gang officer here for almost 3 years, and came back as a sergeant assigned to what was then South Bureau gangs, and then came back as a lieutenant. Came back as sergeant watch commander. Came back as a lieutenant watch commander. Came back as a captain, and here today as chief, sitting in the roll call room, talking to you.
It must have been unusual for you to come back first as a patrol officer because you wheeled here, but to come here and now you're in charge. Were there people here that were working for you at that time that maybe are training officers or anybody like that?
One or two. There were a couple of folks that were here the whole time. You know, unfortunately they've all retired since then. None of them are still here. But there were a few, but you know, it's always been a place that I considered home. You know, a couple of divisions I consider home. This one in Rampart, you know, and maybe Hollywood a little bit to an extent. And I just always felt very comfortable here, very much at home.
Great, and as it is, we have two employees here of Southeast, and I'm not going to put you on the spot when we do that 1 minute, 1 second, but I am. Sergeant, why don't you go first?
Hey Chief, I'm Sergeant Julio Virueta. I've been here at Southeast for a little bit over a year now.
Sorry.
Hey sir, I'm Brian Williams, just a police officer too, and I've been here for about 2 years.
No such thing as just a police officer.
Gives us a good opportunity, sir, to talk not only from a Southeast position, but you know what, we have a sergeant and an officer as well, and I believe you have a comment or a question right off the bat?
Yeah, we've received several questions from the watches throughout Southeast. One of them being was a lot of these incidents, whether or not they come back justified or not, officers have a feeling or a belief that they will be negatively disciplined just because of the political pressure in today's society. What would you have to say to those officers that believe that?
Well, first, you know, I think it's important that everybody recognize that politics does not drive my decisions on this thing, ever. And I think if you look at the history of me as chief, you can easily recognize that. I make the tough decisions when I have to make them, but you know, I also do the hard support that cops need. You know, whether it was the 6th in Union or the recent Skid Row shooting or shootings in Newton. You know, the Ford shooting in Newton. You know, I call those like I see them. Unfortunately, once in a while we'll have an incident that I have to look at negatively, you know. But the vast majority of uses of force, you know, I understand. I've worked the streets for a long time. I know how hard these decisions are to make, and I know that our employees, our cops, have good hearts. They're trying to do the right thing, and I support them when they do.
Sarge, how about you?
No, Chief, you mentioned a lot of these recent shootings.
Yeah.
A lot of the officers, they believe that, or they're concerned with the Police Commission's recent statements on the use of deadly force. They want to know is where do you draw the line? Where does de-escalation cross into retreating or not engaging the suspect?
Well, I think it's important to recognize that no policy has changed at this point. You know, we haven't changed anything yet. And I will not support any change in policy that puts any Los Angeles police officer at greater risk. I will not. Also, I think it's important that all the people that have interest in this come to the table and discuss any changes in policy. And that's the union, that's my use of force experts, that's people that represent me, that's the city attorney's office, that's the inspector general, and that's members of the police commission. And then, and only then, we make a change in the policy. Now, I think it is important to recognize that the number one goal of the Los Angeles Police Department, the thing that we're about, is saving lives. You know, and that reverence for human life is part of what we do. Now, does that mean that we'll never have to take a life? Well, no, that's not what it means. But it means that if we can avoid it, we certainly will. And if we can avoid it through de-escalation, which cops do every day, all day long. I mean, I have seen experts at de-escalations of critical incidents since I first day on the job. I mean, that's what we do. Does it always work? No, it doesn't always work. Can you always do it? No, you can't always do it. You can't always say, stop, don't advance anymore. You can't always say, drop the weapon. I know that. And if the situation is such that you have no opportunity or no ability to do that, then I absolutely know it. And to tell you the truth, I have rarely, if ever, seen an incident where the officers didn't try to de-escalate situations. Nobody wants to take a human life. You know, we tell them to drop the weapon, tell them to stop, don't advance, don't come any closer. Tell them if you come any closer, I'm going to shoot. This is what we do as a rule of thumb, and that's all de-escalation. Now, can we develop other techniques? You know, trying to build some, all the crisis negotiation stuff. Try to build rapport when you get a chance. You know, if you can. You know, if you have some space and a little time to do that, well then yeah, you should build some rapport and see if you can, try to get them to see things in a different way. And I expect that from Los Angeles police officers, but that's nothing new. I've always expected that, and I usually get it. So, I think that the number one takeaway is that I won't allow or support any use of force policy change that puts you at greater risk. I will not. And that we'll have discussions about this, and people that represent you will be involved in that discussion. And I hope you recognize that I represent you too. This is much more than just a job to me. This is much more than just the place I work and the people I work with. This is my family. This is what I see as my responsibility to the people, the cops that went before me, and my responsibility to those that follow us. So, I take it very seriously, and I will make sure that anything that we do makes good sense, and makes sense not only keeping the community safe, but keeping cops safe.
How about the MDC question? Who's going to ask that?
Oh, in the recent last couple DPs or so, we've noticed an issue with the wireless connectivity of the MDCs. Is there a plan for the department to fix that issue?
Well, okay, now this is a very dangerous question, because you're delving into things that the chief doesn't know a lot about, but that he has been told a lot about. So I will tell you what I know, and then we'll see how that works out. So the systems that we have now is a 3G system. So the carrier has recently upgraded to 4G, so they don't quite talk to each other the right way, and so we have disconnections all the time. So we are upgrading our service to 4G, and that should happen in the very near future. And to do that, they have to replace all the air cards, and they'll do that. And so that will be the first step in fixing it. And then the second step will be the change to an all-modem system that doesn't require the air card service. So we know about it. We're working on it. We have a solution in hand. Hopefully 6 months from now, when you see me again, you won't have to ask the same question. But we're very aware of it. It's something that the department is working on, that according to what I've understood, we have a solution for. And I know how frustrating that can be. As frustrated as you get with the system, I was around when the system first went online, and this was the great-great-grandfather of the system you have now. And we had huge issues with it, huge issues. Not only issues with the system, but also issues with all of us. And I say us, I mean the cops, the employees, because we really didn't understand how to use it. And so the positive thing now is that all of you are very tech savvy. All of you, the system can't keep up with you. So this is a much easier fix than 30 years ago when we first crossed this bridge. So I know we'll get it fixed. I know we'll get you a system that you can use. And my goal, of course, is that eventually we buy vehicles where there is no outside laptop. That the laptops are the screens in dash are all that you use, and those will all be supported by a modem in the trunk or in the back, and that should make a big difference too. So, you know, that's kind of where that's the longer term goal. And actually, you're seeing some of those cars in the field now. I don't know if Southeast has got any
We
yet.
have a couple SUVs that have
Yeah.
in dash.
Yeah, and I'm looking, I met with Ford representatives the other day, and, you know, I told them, hey, I want the big screen, you know, not, I like the screen you got, but I want that big 17-inch screen like in the Tesla, you know, that's what I want, and that is, and that kind of thing could support, you know, all of the technology that we want to put in those cars, because I recognize you live in those cars, and that, you know, I don't want to inhibit your ability to do your job with the equipment I give you. I want to make it easier to do your job with the equipment I give you. That's my goal.
Great. Well, thank you, gentlemen. Thanks, Chief.
No, thank you, Jack, and hopefully we will do this again in
Yes, sir.
another division with a couple of more fine representatives of Los Angeles Police Department like these two.
Sounds great. Thanks.
Thank you.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
Take care of each other. Be safe. Do the best you can do and do the right thing.